Hi, this is Bronwyn the Brave, and I'm going to show you two different ways to tie a slip knot. Did you know that there's two different types? A lot of people know what they know, and they don't realize that there might be a different way to pull the tighten the knot. So the first way I'm going to show you is one that tightens with the working yarn, and the other is tightening with the tail. And depending on your project, you might choose one or the other. So again, the first way is to tighten with the working yarn. So I have the working yarn in my right hand and the tail in my left. And I tension both yarns, and I bring my index finger up and kind of make an E with the yarn. So the working yarn is going to go over the tail, and I'll pinch that little join there. And leaving my finger in that loop, I'm going to draw the working yarn up through that loop, and then it tightens with the tail. The actual knot part tightens with the tail, but the loop is adjustable by pulling on. So here's my tail. I'm going to pull on the working yarn to tighten the loop on my hook. Okay, so this type of slip knot I will use for a project that's crocheted in rows, where I don't want the slip knot to come loose, because if you think about it, this is going to be my tail, obviously, and I'll be working with this yarn, and all my future stitches will be coming from this yarn, my working yarn. So it's however big this loop starts out is going to be kind of secured with any future stitches, and it's not going anywhere with this tail. So I could, if I wanted to, have a little tiny fringe. I could just leave that tail. And so I guess my point is that it doesn't have to be woven in so securely, and you don't have to worry about it coming undone. So that's why I would use this type of a slip knot for a crochet project that's done in rows. So that's one that's tightened with the working yarn. Now for crocheted toys, I actually want to be able to make the slip knot bigger and smaller as I go, because I want to tighten up that circle. So I'll show you how that works. And it's done the same way, it's just it depends on which hand you have the yarn in. So my tail is going in my right hand, and the working yarn is in my left. And I'll do it the same way. So I make that E one more time, and then I pinch where it joins, and then I kind of use my thumb to lever it, and I bring that yarn that's crossing there up through the loop, and I tighten it with the working yarn on my left. So I tighten that down, but the loop itself is going to be adjustable with the tail. So in practice, I'll show you how I would start like a crocheted toy. So anything that's crocheted from the inside of a circle to the outside. So most crocheted toys begin with a magic ring, or this way. And a magic ring is nice. It's a good technique to know, but it also can be kind of bulky, and that hole that's in the center can can only adjust so far. You might always have a hole, but it's also kind of, well, like the name says, it's a magical ring. It's a magic ring that's kind of mystical, and some people can't quite grasp it. But with this method, I really like this technique. So here, when I chain two, this first chain kind of is actually my slip knot. So I'm going to work into that first stitch, and I'm going to make 6 single crochets into that first chain. So that's my slip knot, and it's actually, I can feel it growing as you can see that hole right there. So I've got 3 first single crochets, 4, 5, and 6. And there are some patterns that will call for a magic ring or something similar to this that I'm doing, but you'll have, say, 12 double crochets into that hole, and that hole can get really, really big, or it can get really tight if you're using a magic ring or some other technique. So I have 6 single crochets. Here we go. And I'll just join it to show you. Get it tightened down. So here you can see this little hole that's formed, but by pulling on the tail here, it tightens up. No more hole. Now, with this type of a slip knot, like I said before, you'll want to weave in this type of a slip knot because it could work its way a little bit loose. It's probably not going to become too loose or so loose that it would fall apart, but just for security's sake, and if it's a toy, for instance, you wouldn't want to have the stuffing be popping out of that hole. But I would just take a couple of stitches in the back and secure it and then continue on my way. Actually, with toys, I'd probably do a couple more rounds and then weave that in. So there are the 2 types of slip knots, and yeah, so practice it and maybe you can incorporate those into your own crochet project. Thanks for joining me, and check out my other YouTube videos on my channel, Brown One the Brave Designs, or you can have a quick shot by going to my website, which is also brownonethebravedesigns.com. So thanks for joining me, and have a good one. Thanks.